Today, hacking. Do you think you're immune to it? Think again. The chances are, no matter how good your passwords are and your security steps are, you've probably already been compromised. Well, no more. NBC's Tom Costello is here with action points on how to protect yourself after he recently took a look at just how vulnerable all of us are.
Chances are you struggle to remember all of your passwords for your online accounts. There's your bank, your email, lots of online shopping. There's Amazon and Netflix and kids' after-school clubs. But despite the warnings, most of us use just 12 passwords for more than 150 accounts, which means we reuse the same passwords at least 10 times. That's the first mistake. The second, our passwords are usually bad.
Your password's actually cracked.
You've got it already?
Today Show 2018, the total time to crack was 165 seconds.
To crack my password, IBM cybersecurity pro Charles Henderson used a hacker's tool commonly found on the internet.
If you can crack that password that quickly, then criminals can do that.
Exactly.
Here's where it goes from bad to worse. Experts say most of our information is already for sale on the internet. Our names, addresses, DOBs, socials, bank and credit card information, thanks to the mega hacks of the past 5 years. How do the hackers do it?
What we have here is a mock financial services company.
To show us, James Line from Sofo Security created his own online bank.
So we're going to use a attack tool here with exactly the same code that was used by the attackers of Equifax to break into this web page.
Those tools allowed hackers to take advantage of a security flaw and bypass the customer login page.
I mean, it only took a few seconds.
You're in already.
It was incredibly quick, incredibly quick.
The cost of cybercrime, $4 trillion and climbing every year. If the world's financial institutions are vulnerable, how do you and I and everyday Americans protect ourselves?
Well, there are lots of things that we can do to protect our data. One of the most obvious ones is just to try and avoid handing over as much information to businesses. Only hand over data where you absolutely have to.
In fact, look what we found on the internet.
So what we're looking at here is a database of emails and passwords that was leaked on the web.
That's Itai Mayor, former Israeli cyber intelligence, now at IBM Security.
You've got tens of thousands of names right here.
Right, and that's just one database. There's tens of thousands of databases like this that you can look at.
We found passwords for friends and NBC colleagues. Experts say we all need to take our passwords to the next level. My password, Today Show 2018, was weak. Experts now advise using long song lyrics or phrases. I left my heart in San Francisco in 2017. But automated computer programs might even crack that. Which is why security pros say we should all use password managers or vaults that keep our passwords encrypted. And multi-step authentication, a code sent via text message to your phone, which you first must unlock with biometrics.
We have to assume that there's a good chance our information is out there, which is why we have to keep changing our passwords and updating our accounts.
Oh, I'm scared. Tom, thank you for that. Welcome. We're also joined now by Caleb Barlow, who's the Vice President of Threat Intelligence at IBM Security. Okay, so the question is whether there really is anything that we can do to keep our accounts, our personal information, out of the hands of hackers and the bad guys. Is there?
Well, I think this is one of the big challenges we all face. And let's, if we look at this, this is one of the biggest issues affecting our times and our society.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I'm really focused on. This isn't just about protecting our own data. It's about protecting the data of our friends, our colleagues that we work with. Because if your account is compromised, that becomes the launching pad for an attacker to go after everyone around you.
Yep. We've seen that. How many times have you gotten the notification from a friend that's like, I've been hacked, and maybe you've already opened up something from them. You're like, great, thanks a lot, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
You actually ran a little experimental test with this very audience. Tell us about that.
We did. So we got 22 volunteers from the audience. And actually, let me read off some names if they could stand up here. So Kathleen, Nancy, Margaret, Christine, Gwen, Richard, and Patricia. So were all of you aware that over the course of the last 2 years, your personal information has been part of a data breach? No. Very interesting. several of you were actually involved in multiple breaches. So for example, Nancy and Christine, you were both part of 2 to 3 breaches each. Does that surprise you at all?
Yes, it does. Not really.
Not really? Now, do you use that email address you gave us for like buying a lot of things and making a lot of purchases?
Yes.
Exactly. So where you both fell victim was a breach that actually was associated with a marketing company that has a lot of your personal information and uses that to market to you. And they made some mistakes, and bad guys got access to your information.
Wait, but how can they get into the account?
Well, they didn't necessarily get into their accounts. They got access to their information. So, for example, they might have not only their email address, but their actual location of where they live. It could, depending on the breach, maybe even be private information like a social security number or a date of birth. So you got to remember, Megyn, last year alone in one breach, half of all Americans lost their social security number.
Oh my goodness.
And Megyn, I hate to tell you this, but we also have your information. Your information was also out there. Your private personal email was out there. We're not going to share it, but here's the problem.
But we are going to talk about it later.
Uh-oh.
Here's the problem. The problem is if hackers have your personal email, and you're a public figure, as am I, they can start doing research on you, and they can start targeting you with emails, phishing emails, trying to get you to click on a link and trying to get you to essentially expose yourself. And if they can't get you, then they're going to start targeting your friends and your kids, and they can start building information, a database about you or anybody to start that.
Once you click on the link, you're dead. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you click on links, and then they're
inside your computer. Yeah.
All right, so let's go through what the things we should and should not do. Caleb, what's number one? Something that we should do.
I think one of the things that we should do is remember that, great technology comes with great responsibility. And part of that responsibility, not only keep your password changed and up to date and things like that, but you can actually go out to some websites and check, maybe once a month, to see if you've actually been what we call pwned, or you've actually been part of a data breach. So one of these sites that's commonly used is called I'veBeenPwned.com.
Pwned?
Pwned. Yes, pwned. That's the technical term for it, where your data has been released out there and part of a data breach.
Okay, so go there, check it out, see if your email's in it. No danger in putting your email in there?
Well, again, we're gonna post up the websites to go check. Go into those legitimate websites, see if you have been pwned.
Those are safe to check out.
Exactly.
Okay. What else?
Let me give you a big don't. Don't use the same email address that you're doing for your shopping or your Netflix or your Facebook. Don't use that email address for your banking activities. You should have a separate, sacred email address assigned only for banking and investments and that kind of thing. You want to
I did not know that.
You want to create silos, and the most sensitive financial information should be on a separate email that you don't share with anybody else.
It's very smart and very easy. Okay, I like that one. What else should we do?
Okay, another don't. You know those personality tests that you get online, often on Facebook?
Yep.
Well, a lot of times...
Which golden girl are you?
Yeah, I don't know. Which golden girl are you, Megyn?
I'm definitely Sophia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think... How about you, Tom? No. I think one of the things you got to realize is oftentimes things like that are asking a little bit too much personal information that could be then used by an attacker to mount an attack. So where did you grow up? What high school did you go to? Think about it. All of those are often questions that are used when you go to reset your password.
So are those things like which Friends character are you? Is that put up there by bad guys, or bad guys just know how to access it?
More often than not, those things are put up there by marketing companies looking to market to you. Okay. Sometimes it could be put up there by bad guys.
Just don't do it. Just go to your psychiatrist if you want to know what kind of person you are.
Exactly.
Avoid the online test. Go ahead, Tom.
One more. Here's both a do and a don't. If you get these questions when you're creating your online security profile, what street did you grow up on? What's your mother's maiden name? What's your favorite color? Lie. Don't tell the real reasons, because if you put out there, my street that I grew up on is, Main Street, USA. Well, then they can start using that information, building a database, and if they can find that information on your social media sites like Facebook or your friends, whatever, they can say, Megyn grew up on Main Street, and we know that Megyn's favorite color is blue, and her first name's dog was Rover. They can start guessing for your other passwords, your other security
Before you know it, they're in
passwords.
all of your accounts.
That's right.
They can get a credit card under your name.
Use your cousin's street that she grew up on.
That's good.
Use your best friend's dog's name. The trouble is now you got to remember that stuff.
I know.
Right?
Well, so can I just ask you before we go? So what is this vault you're talking about? Because I think most of us just put our little passwords on like someplace in the
So a
iPhone. I don't want to be specific, but like you just put it, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
What's
a
the
password
vault?
is actually a tool that you can buy where it allows you to store a bunch of passwords that you can't even remember the names
Yes.
to. So passwords length matters,
It's
right?
an app? Like,
It's
is
an
it-
app, and what it does is it stores all your passwords, and all you have to do is remember the one password of how to log into that app.
Oh my gosh.
And then everything
Where
else
have you
is
been all
unique
my
and different.
life? That is so much easier.
And it encrypts passwords and creates very long, complicated passwords, all of them encrypted, so you're not using 12 for 150 sites.
That is brilliant. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. And we have to talk later, clearly, because I really need to up my game. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be